how is it that you stay Mormon when you know that the discourse on a Sunday doesn't quite, come close to, yeah, again, it's part of the dream world, the fog world.
Yeah, no, it's a good question because, I'll openly say I have very little interest in religion after my experience. I have an increased interest in truth and in light, and particularly in love. And I think what changed for me is I began to see the symbols, the beauty of the symbols in my own faith, and yet in all faiths. It's really interesting. When I stood outside of my body and looked at it, and granted it may be my background, that I realized it was the temple because, but I heard the words of Jesus, in 3 days I will raise this temple, or know ye not you're the temple of God and God dwells within you. And all of these things that I was experiencing as I began to enter back into my body, into my temple to receive this gift of this life. But I saw beautiful symbols in a lot of it. I love the service. I mean, what the church provides me, the Mormon church provides me in the ability to serve and to give to others is one thing. Also, the acknowledgement of our own divinity. The acknowledgement, I mean, at the tender age of 8 years old, I went through the process of baptism to take upon myself the name of Christ. What I never realized until I stood in the presence of divinity was how divine we are. And in that simple little ceremony where literally I could claim my own divinity, I could claim my own sonship and remember who I was, which we all have the opportunity. And when I say we all, I'm not speaking about Mormons. I'm speaking about humankind. I'm speaking about all of us. Because in reality, what I experienced is all of us universally are the noble and great ones that came here. We're all the anointed ones. And anybody who's in this life who is going through this experience, I love the Adam and Eve story. I mean, in the highest forms of my own worship, and in the Adam and Eve story, which exists in Jewish and Muslim and even in some Native American cultures, this Adam and Eve story where here we are in this mortality, having come from somewhere far greater. And if I'll be so bold to say, in this telestial energy, in this low vibration of this mortal world, which we're told is where we live in the telestial world, we're offered religion by the ego or Lucifer or the devil or whatever you want to talk about it. And the interesting thing is so many of us embrace religion on a telestial level. And that's where guilt and judgment and fear and all the things that push people away from any particular faith come into play, because it's being offered by a dark force, by the ego in a telestial realm. And yet if we look at Adam and Eve, they reject religion. They want messengers. They want a connection. They want true communion with God. And because of that, the universe or God or the Father, whatever you want to say, sends them messengers. And they know those messengers. They know by a true sign that they're real messengers. Now, you might say, well, that's apostles and prophets, but it also might be the homeless guy that walks up on the street with a profound message that he says in his drunken stupor to you that you go, wow. I've experienced things like that too. But for whatever reason, those true messengers, which you know are true messengers, only have one job. And that job is to teach you to commune with God through the veil, to bring you to those highest realms where you're truly communing, where God can whisper right into your ears what you deserve to hear, and it's only for you. It's your business. So we may accept religion on a telestial level. We may receive messengers at a terrestrial level. But eventually, the game is to commune with God through the veil at a celestial level, and only then does the real learning begin. That's those are those realms where all of a sudden that telestial world becomes a foggy dream, and we begin to realize who we are. Even Jesus' message, he never came saying, I'm greater than you. He didn't come to show us how great he was. He came to show us how great we are. walk on the water, Peter. Why do you doubt? Why do you doubt? Greater things will you do than this if you only believe. And so he came with this profound example of who we are. And it's incumbent on us. I mean, that's what I've learned, is it's incumbent on us to really step up and be the light. Here again, these words of Jesus, you are the light of the world, because we're the ones that will change it and literally bring heaven to earth. It's not about dying and going to heaven. One doesn't have to die to experience these things. You can experience it in your day-to-day life by literally getting in touch with that unconditional love that is the most powerful force in the universe.
Beautiful.